Good day. Welcome to Jump the Curve. Today is Friday, April 24th. And on the cover of today's Wall Street Journal is a story that says that Chrysler is nearing bankruptcy. This is no great surprise, really, but it would have been a surprise 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 10, 5, maybe even 2 years ago if you would have said that Chrysler would have been bankrupt. But one of the reasons they are going bankrupt, I would argue, is because they couldn't unlearn. They could not unlearn their idea that cars needed to be big and gas guzzlers. They could not unlearn their idea that only engineers could design cars, that they couldn't have artists and consumers actually engaged in the process. They also couldn't unlearn their unhealthy relationship with labor unions. Alas, Chrysler is not alone in this phenomenon. 20 years ago, in 1989, best managed company on the cover of Business Week was Bethlehem Steel. 12 years later, 2001, they were bankrupt, and in 2003, their massive Bethlehem Steel plant is now being converted into the National Museum of Industrial History by the Smithsonian. That would have been unthinkable, but they could not unlearn the idea that steel could only be made with the existing technology. They couldn't unlearn the idea that mini mill technology was also going to be a viable technology. Chrysler and Bethlehem are not alone. I live in Minneapolis. Medtronic, one of the most successful medical device companies in the world. I would argue that in 20 years they might be bankrupt. There's this wonderful quote that comes from a senior vice president at Medtronic, Steve Osterly, and he says, "When biotechnology gets it right, we're finished." Essentially what he's saying is, in the future, people aren't going to need medical devices, not when stem cell research and biotechnology might be able to allow us to grow our own new parts or eventually our own hearts. Medtronic has the opportunity to survive, but they have to begin unlearning today. And as a visible reminder of this message, I want you to take a look at this map behind me. It's sort of a map that we're all familiar with. The problem is, it's not really a problem, but this map is actually upside down right now. Let me show you how it's really supposed to look. The map is supposed to look like this. In fact, this is the way the map was manufactured. The only reason we now view maps the way that we do, with North America and Europe on top, is because that's where the first map makers came from. There's absolutely no reason why maps couldn't be viewed this way. And that's one of the things I want you to understand about the future. There's absolutely no reason why Chrysler can't go bankrupt, Bethlehem Steel, Medtronic, or any company that is successful today. If you want to jump the curve, and if you want to envision the future, one of the things you're going to have to do is to see the world not as you have always seen it, but to see it in a different light. And I'm going to keep this map up here, for me, as a constant reminder that the world is not necessarily how we see it. It is how other people see it as well. So with that, remember, don't just stay ahead of the curve, jump the curve. Until next week, I'm Jack Uldrich.